I've never properly understood the Queen. I'm not so irrational that I actually think she's been appointed by God, and I'm also not so irrational as to start shouting for the end of monarchy. I think it's childish that we still have a Queen. The fact that the general consensus is rightly that everyone should be born equally, it seems a bit stupid that in modern Britain we say, except from her, she isn't born equally, we've given her a special hat and you have to kneel in front of her. But she's very good for tourists. Basically the only reason we have a monarchy is because no one's bought a Disneyland here yet. I felt like I should say that because people not from the UK need to know that most of us rational people don't understand what's happening either. I sat down to watch The Crown, a new Netflix original about Queen Elizabeth II after World War II, and the only thing I knew beforehand was that apparently everyone famous was in it, which they're not, by the way. I didn't at any point see Phil Jupiters playing a palace guard, nor was Adam Curtis playing a member of the cabinet. To be fair, the cast is a nice selection of it's that bloke/blokeette from off of that thing. I was a bit unsure about seeing Matt Smith at first. After all, his most famous role is a cartoony spaceman who flies in a police box and has a good level of racial awareness. Making him play Prince Philip seemed like it might be slightly too far out of his comfort zone, but he did pull it off well. Though for some reason he did get his bum out every 5 minutes, which I wasn't sure how I should feel about that. But I did assume that as an Englishman it was the law that I had to at least try to rub one out. Unfortunately, Matt Smith's young face did nothing to help. It was only when I thought of the current Prince Philip that I turned into some kind of Jizz Fountain. When's that getting put on the poster, Netflix? I did enjoy John Lithgow's performance, although mainly I enjoyed picturing the angry faces of nationalist morons as they tried to understand why they got an American to play the Penguin from Batman. Oh, sorry. Danny DeVito's troll character from Sunny. Oh, sorry. Winston Churchill. The real star, though, is obviously Claire Foy as the young woman king. I wish I'd been at the casting to see agents holding £10 notes next to the young actresses' faces. Basically, it's taken me about a dozen lines to say, I like the cast and their performances. I don't know if the performances are realistic. I've not only never met any of the royal family, but I've also never travelled back in time to when they were all sexy. I actually did enjoy this, which I'm annoyed about, because early on I identified this as the British version of Designated Survivor, and I didn't want to come across as proud of my country. It dramatises and glamorises the highest level of society in a way that probably no one from outside the country would care about. But it is a very well told story. I don't know how true it is. I could very easily do some research, but fuck you, I'm the one writing this and I'll put what I want. It's weird that they said the previous King George the somethingth died in bed, when as we all know, historically he died in a Californian skate park while attempting to jump through the Ring of Fire. It probably gets the big things right, but it has Hollywooded up the boring bits, because as we all know, the audience starts browsing social media or downloading the trailers for their TV review footage if the show goes on 1 nanosecond without an argument. I'm very surprised to say that I would recommend this show. It's actually very even-handed and unexpectedly gripping, not unlike Your Mum. And even though at times it did skate a bit too close to propaganda for me, it actually was enjoyable. Now, I'll have to stop this review and look up treason laws just to make sure I didn't do any of that here.